The airlock hissed as the Vorac delegation disembarked, their chitinous limbs clicking against the polished deck plating of Earth's orbital dock. Captain Elias Vance stood at attention, his dress uniform crisp against the backdrop of nervous human diplomats. The obsidian black Census ship loomed behind them, its surface etched with glowing sigils that pulsed like a slow, arrogant heartbeat. "Welcome to Earth," Vance said, his voice carefully neutral. High Archivist Vexis of the Zeperian Conclave stepped forward first, her iridescent scales shimmering under the station lights. She inclined her elongated head in a gesture of formal greeting. "Captain Vance, the Galactic Federation appreciates your cooperation in this census." Vance nodded, but his eyes flicked to the towering Vorac behind her. Imperial Overseer Krell loomed over the human delegation, his 4 compound eyes scanning the docking bay with undisguised disdain. His mandibles twitched as he spoke, the translator implant in his thorax converting his clicks into guttural galactic standard. "This is the seat of human power, a single orbital station." Vance kept his expression blank. "Earth's defenses are more extensive than they appear." Krell let out a derisive chitter. "Defenses? We scanned your system on approach. Your fleet is antiquated. Your weapons are primitive. Your infrastructure is quaint." He turned to Vexis, ignoring Vance entirely. "This will not take long." The Vorac delegation moved past the humans, their spined legs carrying them toward the census chamber. Vance fell into step beside Vexis, keeping his voice low. They're not even trying to hide their contempt. Vexis's frills rippled in what might have been sympathy. The Vorac measure worth in strength alone. They see only what their scanners show. Inside the chamber, holographic displays flickered to life, projecting the Vorac's assessment across the walls. Krell tapped a clawed limb against the console, and the data streamed in real time. Human military assets, negligible, economic output, marginal, technological advancement, stagnant. A murmur ran through the human diplomats. Vance clenched his jaw but said nothing. Krell turned to address the room, his voice dripping with condescension. "By the decree of Emperor Zorath the Infinite, the Vorac Empire conducts this census to determine which species merit inclusion in our galactic ledger." He gestured at the holograms. "Humanity scores below even the minor client races. You are, by all metrics, zeros." One of the younger diplomats, a woman with fire in her eyes, stepped forward. "You haven't seen everything. Krell cut her off with a sharp click. "We have seen enough. Your kind will not be factored into Imperial strategic considerations. Consider it a mercy." He turned to Vexis. "Archive the results." Vexis hesitated, her frills flattening. "Overseer, protocol dictates we verify. Protocol is whatever the Empire declares." Krell snapped. He tapped another command into the console, and the holograms dissolved into the Vorac sigil, a jagged, predatory symbol that pulsed once before vanishing. "Humanity is irrelevant. This system is beneath our notice." The Vorac turned and strode from the chamber, their armored forms casting long shadows. The human diplomats stood frozen, their faces a mix of outrage and humiliation. Vance watched them go, his fingers tightening around the datapad in his hand. Vexis lingered for a moment, her golden eyes meeting Vance's. "They did not look deeper," she murmured. Vance allowed himself the faintest smirk. "No, they didn't." As the chamber doors sealed behind the Vorac, the youngest diplomat, Lieutenant Mara Hale, whirled on Vance. "Captain, we can't just let them." "We will," Vance said calmly. He tapped his datapad, and a single line of text appeared on its surface. "Assessment complete. Proceed as planned." He looked up, his gaze steady. "Let them think we're zeros right up until we're the only number left." Outside the station, the Vorac Census ship powered up its engines, its scanners still blind to the faint energy signatures buried deep beneath Mars's red sands. The air inside the Martian shipyard, tasted of ozone and cold steel. Dr. Lena Chen adjusted her goggles as another black star. Class Dreadnought slid from its assembly cradle, its matte, black hull swallowing the harsh work lights. Around her, technicians in radiation, shielded suits moved like ghosts through the cavernous space, their voices muffled by the constant hum of quantum forges. "Another one ready for dark coating," she said into her wristcom. Admiral Hal Rook's voice crackled back. "That makes 12 this month. The Vorac still haven't noticed." Lena smirked. "Their last probe scanned us 3 weeks ago, registered empty tunnels and abandoned mining equipment." She tapped a command into her datapad, and the new dreadnought's identification flared across its prow. USN Silent Hammer. A shadow flickered at the edge of her vision. Lena froze. Something had moved between the support struts, too fast, too fluid to be human. Her hand hovered over the emergency alert. Then she saw it. A Vorac spy drone. No larger than a human head, clung to the ceiling like a mechanical spider. Its 8 segmented legs shifted silently, adjusting optical lenses to record the shipyard's activity. "Admiral," Lena whispered, "we have a visitor." Rook's voice turned to ice. "X-Fay model. Self-destructs if captured. Don't let it leave." The drone's lenses focused on the silent hammer. A faint pulse of energy rippled across its carapace. Transmitting. Lena didn't hesitate. She slammed her palm onto the master control panel. The entire shipyard shuddered as electromagnetic dampeners activated, sealing the facility in a bubble of scrambled signals. The drone jerked. Its transmission cut midstream. It turned toward her. Red targeting lasers flickered to life. "Chen, get down," Rook's voice roared through the comms. Lena dove behind a cargo crate as the drone's plasma cutter ignited, slicing through steel like paper. She fumbled for her sidearm, standard issue for Martian engineers, though she'd never fired it outside the range. The drone skittered closer, its legs tapping a metallic rhythm against the grated floor. Then the ceiling exploded. A figure in black, tactical armor dropped from above, landing directly atop the drone. The crunch of chitinous plating echoed through the shipyard as the soldier, one of Rook's elite ghost operatives, drove a vibro blade through the drone's core. It spasmed once, then went still. "Transmission intercepted," the operative said, yanking the blade free. But it got a partial upload. Rook's hologram flickered to life beside them, his face grim. "How much?" Lena examined the drone's shattered remains. "Enough?" The Admiral exhaled slowly. "Then we move the timeline up, prep the fleet." Lena hesitated. "We're not fully operational. The Event Horizon's dark matter reactor still needs." "They called us Zeros, Doctor." Rook's eyes burned with cold fury. "Time to show them what happens when you multiply by 0. Deep in the shipyard's core, the first Black Star engines roared to life. The Vorac surveillance network registered the anomaly for seconds before the data was erased. A flicker of something near Mars. Then silence. On board the Whisper of Shadows, the drone's final transmission played on loop for the Vorac overseers. Grainy footage of black ships, human engineers working on weapons the scanners couldn't classify. The overseer dismissed it. Mining vessels, primitive armor. No threat. The feed cut to static. Somewhere beneath the red sands, the silent hammer activated its void cloak and disappeared. The throne room of the eternal conquest stretched into impossible dimensions, its vaulted ceilings lost in holographic projections of conquered worlds. Emperor Zorath, the Infinite, lounged on his floating dais, his chitinous bulk bedecked with the skulls of 100 species. Each trophy glowed faintly with preservation fields, their hollow eye sockets fixed in eternal screams. Ambassador Daniel Reyes adjusted his tie as the Vorac honor guard escorted him forward. Their segmented legs clicked against the obsidian floor in perfect unison. The air smelled of ozone and something faintly rotten, like meat left too long in vacuum. Ah! Zorath's voice boomed, amplified by unseen systems. The Zero has arrived. Laughter rippled through the court. Superior advisors clacked their mandibles. A hulking Krath mercenary snorted through its nasal slits. Reyes kept walking. You requested an audience, Softskin, Zorath said, examining one clawed hand. Speak quickly. My extermination fleets require scheduling. Reyes stopped precisely 3 paces from the dais. Protocol demanded 5. He let the breach hang in the air before speaking. The Terran Accord seeks trade rights through the Caecilian Rift. Silence. Then uproarious laughter. Grand Tactician Vexis floated down from her observation perch, her Zephyrian bio, lights pulsing violet with amusement. The Caecilian Rift borders 17 Vorac core systems. You might as well ask to picnic in the Emperor's birthing chamber. Zorath leaned forward, his compound eyes reflecting Rhea's face 1,000 times over. You have nothing we want. Your ships are slow, your weapons primitive, your people. He flicked a claw toward a floating display showing Earth's defense grids. Pathetic. The hologram zoomed in on a human orbital platform. Vorac scanners highlighted its weaknesses in pulsing red. Secondary displays ranked Earth's military assets against other species. Humanity sat at the bottom. A single digit flashed beside the tally. Reyes' datapad vibrated once in his pocket. The signal he kept his voice level. Our scientists have made breakthroughs in quantum. Enough. Zorath's roar shook the chamber. Servitors cowered. We've wasted enough time on this farce. He waved a claw, and the holograms shifted to show Vorac dreadnoughts massing near human space. Observe the real power you face. Reyes studied the fleet display, 12 battle groups, standard Vorac formation, exactly where intelligence predicted they'd be. Vexis drifted closer, her bio lights now flickering yellow with curiosity. Why do you smile, human? Reyes hadn't realized he was. He schooled his features. A nervous reflex. We're impressed by the Emperor's might. Zorath preened, his carapace gleaming under the throne room lights. As you should be, the Vorac Empire spans 12,000 systems. Our armies number in the trillions, and you. He leaned down until his mandibles nearly brushed Rhea's face. You are less than nothing. A chime sounded from Rhea's datapad. The second signal. His fingers twitched toward his pocket. Vexis noticed. What is that device? Merely my calendar. Reyes withdrew the datapad slowly. The screen showed Earth's emblem, a blue marble wrapped in olive branches, reminding me of another appointment. Zorath snorted. Leave before I have my guards peel that soft skin from your bones. Reyes bowed precisely 7 degrees, not the full 15 required. By your leave, Emperor. As he turned, the chamber's main viewer activated unexpectedly. A Vorac technician scrambled at his console. Sire, an unscheduled transmission from. The screen filled with static. Then words appeared in burning Vorac script. Your census was incomplete. Zorath surged upright. What is this? Who dares? The words changed. You counted 0 human warships. Reyes reached the doors. The honor guards didn't stop him. You counted 0 human defenses. Vexis bio. Lights flashed crimson. Sire, this is a coordinated. But 0 times infinity is still 0. The screen went black. Then a new image resolved. Mars. The red planet's surface trembled. Cracks spread across its face like spiderwebs, and from the fractures rose ships, black as the void between stars, shaped like knives, hundreds, then thousands. Reyes didn't look back as the throne room erupted behind him. He tapped his datapad one last time. The message was only one word. It bloomed across every screen in the Vorac Empire simultaneously, across every comm channel, every display. The void between stars was never truly empty. Captain Elias Vance knew that better than most. His fingers hovered over the Resolute's tactical display, watching the Vorac border patrol drift lazily through the sector. Their ships, bulky, arrogant things, coated in imperial sigils, floated like fat beetles in sunlight. "Status," Vance said, his voice calm. "Black Star Fleet in position," came Dr. Chen's reply through the comm. Her voice carried the faintest tremor of excitement. "Event Horizon reports singularity cores at 98%, all other vessels holding at dark anchor." Vance allowed himself a small smile. Dark anchor, the Vorac scanners wouldn't see them. Couldn't see them. Not until it was too late. On the view screen, the lead Vorac ship, Claw of Supremacy, pulsed its running lights in a slow, rhythmic pattern. Standard Imperial protocol. Boring, predictable. "Open channel to the fleet," Vance ordered. The comm officer nodded. "Channel open, sir." Vance took a breath. "This is Captain Vance, USN Resolute. By order of Earth Command, Operation 0 Point is now active. All ships, engage." Space rippled. At first, it was subtle, a distortion in the black, like heat haze over desert sands. Then the Vorac scanners screamed to life. Commander Drax of the Claw of Supremacy jerked upright in his command throne. "Report," he barked, his mandibles clicking in alarm. "Unknown contacts," his sensor officer shrieked. Multiple signatures. "No, wait." The officer's voice cracked. "They're not unknown. They're not registering at all." Drax's compound eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, not registering?" The answer came from the void itself. One by one, ships emerged from the darkness, not with a flash of warp drives or the telltale glow of engines. They simply appeared. As if they'd always been there, their hulls drank in the light, blacker than the space between galaxies. "By the hive," Drax whispered. The lead human ship, Event Horizon, unfolded like a nightmare given form. Its prow split open, revealing a maw of swirling darkness. "Fire at will!" Drax screamed. Vorac plasma cannons roared to life. Bolts of superheated energy streaked toward the human fleet and vanished into the Event Horizon's gaping maw. Dr. Chen's voice crackled over the Resolute's comm. "Singularity cannon charged, firing in 3, 2, 1. The Event Horizon shuddered. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then space itself twisted. A pinpoint of infinite blackness erupted from the human ship's core, streaking toward the Claw of Supremacy. Drax had time for one last thought. This isn't possible. The singularity struck. The Vorac ship didn't explode. It didn't shatter. It collapsed. Hull, crew, weapons, all of it crushed into a single screaming point of non-existence. Then, with a soundless pop, it winked out of reality. Silence gripped the Resolute's bridge. Vance exhaled slowly. One down. Across the sector, the rest of the Black Star fleet moved. Vorac ships died without fanfare. Some were erased by singularities. Others simply stopped, their power failing. Their crews suffocating in the dark as human stealth ships slithered through their hulls. A Vorac distress signal blared across all channels. "This is Border Fleet Sigma 9. We are under attack by..." The transmission cut off abruptly. Vance turned to his comm officer. "Broadcast this to all Vorac frequencies." The officer nodded. "Ready, sir." Vance leaned forward. "Attention, Vorac Empire. This is Captain Elias Vance of the United Earth Space Navy. You assessed humanity as zeros. You were wrong." He paused, letting the words hang in the void. "You have 1 hour to surrender. After that, we stop taking prisoners." He cut the transmission. Dr. Chen's face appeared on the secondary screen. Her eyes gleamed. "They're scrambling their core fleets, just like we predicted." Vance nodded. "Then let's not keep them waiting." The Black Star fleet jumped. Not through warp, not through hyperspace. They slipped through the cracks in reality itself, emerging light, years away in the heart of Vorac territory. The Emperor wouldn't see them coming, not until it was too late. The throne room of the Eternal Conquest trembled as emergency klaxons wailed. Emperor Zorath the Infinite rose from his floating dais, his chitinous plates rattling with barely contained fury. The holographic displays around him flickered with reports from a dozen systems, all flashing the same crimson alert. Explain this. Zorath's voice boomed, shaking the very air. His claws dug into the armrests of his throne, cracking the reinforced bone. Steel Grand Tactician Vexis stood frozen before the tactical display, her 4 eyes darting between the incoming reports. The data made no sense. Human ships their scanners had dismissed as primitive mere days ago, were appearing inside Vorac core systems, not approaching, not transiting, appearing as if space itself had bent to their will. Imperial Majesty, Vexis said, her voice tight. The humans. I see the humans, Zorath roared. A hologram zoomed in on the Vorac homeworld's defense grid. A swarm of black-hulled warships materialized just beyond the orbital shield perimeter. Their silhouettes swallowed starlight, their outlines blurred as if reality itself struggled to define them. The Emperor's mandibles twitched. How our shields, our early warning systems. Use less, Vexis whispered. She tapped a command into her data slate, pulling up the last transmission from the Zephyrian observation vessel Truthseeker. The footage showed a human dreadnought designation event horizon, firing a weapon that shouldn't exist. A beam of distorted space lanced out, striking a Vorac battleship. The ship didn't explode. It imploded, collapsing into a singularity the size of a pebble before vanishing entirely. Zorath's carapace paled. They have singularity weapons. Vexis's hands trembled. Worse, they're not just using them, they're riding them. A new alert blared. The hologram shifted to show the human fleet at Vorac Prime. The black ships didn't move like normal vessels. They flickered, vanishing from one point and reappearing at another, without traversing the space between. Impossible, Zorath hissed. No species can. The humans can, Vexis interrupted, her voice hollow. They didn't hide their strength, Majesty. They redefined it. The Emperor whirled toward the comm station. Open a channel to the border fleets. Full retreat too. The comm officer's antennae drooped. Majesty, the border fleets are gone. Silence. Then the main display lit up with a new transmission. Not from Vorac Command, but from the human flagship. A face appeared, weathered but calm. Captain Elias Vance. Emperor Zorath, Vance said, his voice carrying the weight of inevitability. You declared humanity irrelevant, a 0 in your ledger. He leaned closer. But 0 is the most dangerous number of all, because when you multiply by it, the feed split showing a dozen Vorac worlds, each with human ships hanging in orbit like executioner's blades. Everything disappears. Zorath's throne room erupted into chaos. Advisors scrambled, tactical displays flickered with panicked orders, and the Emperor, the Infinite Emperor, found himself staring at the unthinkable defeat. Recall all forces, Zorath barked. Every ship, every soldier, defend the core worlds. Vexis didn't move. Majesty, look. The hologram zoomed out. Human fleets weren't just at Vorac Prime, they were at every major system, not approaching, not mustering, already there. The Emperor's legs gave out. He collapsed onto his throne, his carapace clicking in uncontrolled tremors. How did they? Vexis turned to him, her voice barely audible over the alarms. They didn't beat us to our defenses. They skipped the race entirely. Outside the Eternal Conquest's viewports, space rippled. A shape darker than the void beyond it materialized. The event horizon, close enough that its singularity cannons could reduce the flagship to atoms before Zorath could blink. The comm crackled again. Vance's voice was calm. You have 1 hour to surrender. After that, a pause. We stop asking. The transmission cut. In the silence that followed, Emperor Zorath the Infinite did something no living being had ever witnessed. He begged. The bridge of the eternal conquest flickered with dying lights. Emperor Zorath clawed at his cracked throne, his chitinous limbs trembling as another explosion rocked the flagship. The holographic displays showed nothing but destruction. Human ships appearing where they shouldn't, firing weapons that defied physics. His empire was unraveling at the seams. Where are my fleets? Zorath hissed, his voice modulator glitching. Grand Tactician Vexis stood frozen, her Zephyrian eyes wide with disbelief. Gone, my emperor. The human fleet, their black stars. They didn't just outmaneuver us. They rewrote the rules. A final impact shuddered through the ship. The doors to the throne room blasted inward, revealing a squad of human marines in black armor. Their visors glowed an eerie blue, their weapons humming with restrained power. At their head stood Captain Elias Vance, his sidearm holstered, his expression unreadable. Zorath's mandibles twitched. Vance stepped forward, his boots crunching over shattered Vorac tech. The Emperor lunged, his claws extending only to freeze as a dozen human rifles snapped up. Vance didn't flinch. Try it, see what happens. Zorath hesitated. For the first time in his millennia, long reign, fear coiled in his gut. You're nothing, he spat. A primitive species we dismissed as zeros. Vance smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. Funny thing about zero in math. It's the great equalizer. Multiply anything by it. Poof. Gone. He gestured to the wreckage outside. Like your empire. A hologram flickered to life between them. Dr. Lena Chen's face appeared, her lab coat replaced by tactical armor. Captain, we've neutralized the last Vorac stronghold. Their command network is ours. Zorath's carapace rattled. Impossible. Our systems are impenetrable. Chen's smile was razor thin. Not to us. You scanned our ships, our planets. You never thought to scan yourselves. She tapped a console. Every Vorac implant, every networked weapon. We've been inside your system since the day you called us irrelevant. The Emperor staggered. His own cybernetics, his enhancements, had been his downfall. You wanted to count us, fine. Let's tally the score. He activated a galaxy-wide broadcast. Every surviving Vorac ship, every allied world, every neutral observer saw the feed. People of the galaxy, Vance said, his voice calm. The Vorac Empire no longer exists. Their fleets are dust. Their worlds are silent. Any who oppose humanity will share their fate. Zorath collapsed to his knees. Mercy, he croaked. Vance holstered his weapon. Mercy's off the table, but annihilation, he leaned down. That's always an option. Outside, the last Vorac warship detonated in a flash of unnatural darkness, swallowed whole by a human singularity cannon. The eternal conquest shuddered again, its systems failing. Vance turned to leave. Oh, and Emperor. He didn't look back. Zero's not nothing. It's infinite potential. The broadcast ended. Across 1,000 worlds, silence fell. Then, one by one, the galaxy's remaining powers began to transmit their surrender. The Galactic Forum had never been so silent. Ambassador Daniel Reyes stood at the center of the rebuilt chamber, his polished boots clicking against the obsidian floor. The air smelled of ozone and something else. Fear, the remnants of the Galactic Council watched him, their postures rigid, their many eyes unblinking. The Vorac sigils that once dominated the walls had been stripped away, replaced by Earth's blue and white emblem. Grand Tactician Vexis stepped forward, her Zephyrian carapace dulled from weeks of sleepless strategizing. She had been the first to surrender, the first to kneel. Now she bowed. "Ambassador Reyes," she said, her voice a whisper of what it once was. "The Zephyrian conclave recognizes humanity's supremacy." Reyes smiled, not the tight diplomatic smile he had worn in the Emperor's throne room. This one was real. "Supremacy is such an ugly word, tactician. We prefer partnership." A murmur rippled through the gathered species. The Tarkelians, their four arms folded in submission, the crystalline Heth, their bodies flickering with nervous light. Even the proud Cerelians, their floating orbs darting between Reyes and the empty space where the Vorac delegation had once stood. "You erased an empire," Vexis said, her voice trembling. "Not just defeated it, erased it. There are no records, no survivors, just silence." Reyes adjusted his cufflinks. The Vorac made a mistake. They thought zero meant nothing, but in math, zero is the great equalizer. He turned to the assembly, his voice carrying effortlessly. "Humanity doesn't seek conquest, we seek balance." A Heth delegate pulsed violet, disbelief. "You expect us to believe that? After what you did?" Reyes didn't flinch. "What we did was necessary. The Vorac would have consumed you all now." He spread his hands. "Now you have a choice." Vexis studied him. "What choice?" "Join us," Reyes said simply. "Not as subjects, not as slaves, as equals." The chamber erupted. "Equals?" a Tarkelian hissed. "You wield weapons that bend reality." "And well share them," Reyes countered, "with those who prove trustworthy." Silence. Then, slowly, Vexis straightened. "What are your terms?" Reyes pulled a data chip from his pocket, the same one he had clenched in the Emperor's throne room. "Earth proposes a new alliance, one built on mutual defense, on shared technology." He slotted the chip into the chamber's central console. A holographic treaty bloomed above them. "But Therese, one condition." The assembly leaned in. Reyes' smile faded. "No more games, no more empires. If you betray us." He let the words hang. "Well, you've seen what happens to those who underestimate zero." Vexis was the first to step forward. Her clawed hand hovered over the hologram. "The Zephyrian conclave agrees." One by one, the others followed. As the last delegate signed, Reyes exhaled. It was done. Outside the chamber, Captain Elias Vance waited, his uniform crisp, his expression unreadable. "They bought it," Reyes chuckled. "They didn't have a choice." Vance nodded toward the stars and the Black Star fleet, standing by just in case. Vance smirked. "Good." Together, they walked through the forum's grand archway, where the light of 1,000 suns streamed through the viewports. The galaxy stretched before them, broken, bleeding, but alive. Behind them, the last remnants of the Vorac Empire crumbled into dust. A Zephyrian aide scurried to Reyes' side, a datapad trembling in his grip. "Ambassador, the latest reports from the former Vorac territories." Reyes didn't stop walking, file them under historical records. The aide blinked. "But what category?" Reyes glanced at Vance, then back at the stars. Zero, the empire that counted human zeros, now counted its days in them.